charged with several counts of first-degree intentional homicide. A criminal complaint also alleges the driver steered side to side with the intent of striking marchers and spectators. The fate of the three Georgia men accused of shooting 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery to death is now in the hands of the jury. Prosecutors have argued the defendants tracked him down simply because he was a black man running through their neighborhood. The defense claims Arbery was shot in self-defense when he resisted a citizen's arrest. The men face several charges, including felony murder. I'm Jonathan Hunt. Now back to Hannity.
So it's taken less than 10 months for Joe Biden to destroy the American economy. I asked former President Trump about this and more. Take a look. In less than a year, we have the Afghanistan disaster. We have more Americans dead from COVID, as you were just discussing. We have inflation that is back, an economy that is tanking. Poor and middle-class Americans are dying with high energy prices. We have our borders out of control. We've given up energy independence. Now we have Russia on the border with Ukraine, and we have China saber-rattling with Taiwan, talking about reunification and flying their fighter jets over there. And I think a lot of this was captured in an ad put out by the Save America PAC. I want to play it for you. It's comparing Joe Biden to Jimmy Carter. Let me get your reaction to it.
Decades after Jimmy Carter, Joe Biden picked up where he left off. With America surrendering to terrorists, Biden's foolish spending is causing inflation, which means more pain at the pump, higher prices on groceries, devaluing your retirement savings when you need it most. Once was a mistake. Twice is a disaster. America needs strong leaders, not weak ones.
The similarities, it reminds me a lot of turn your thermostat down and put on a sweater, and long gas lines, as some of us that are older remember.
Well, Sean, look at the brownouts all over California. It's terrible. I mean, all of this nonsense that they're doing, they want to replace clean fossil fuels where you have it really clean. Natural gas is very clean, but it's powerful. It can take care of and fuel our country. And they want to replace it with wind where they spend billions and billions of dollars in subsidy. They need subsidy for it. And everything comes from other countries. They bring it into our country. I mean, it's just unbelievable. They're thinking. You take a look at where we were and remember the word inflation or stagflation, if you'd like to say that, which is a step worse. But remember inflation. What's happening now to prices is many times more than any possible tax increase that anybody could give. But on top of that, in this new bill, they want big tax increases. People are going to pay massive tax increases. And I'm not talking about the wealthy. I'm talking about everybody.
Let me ask you this. I know you're not going to answer me on the question of whether you can run again or not because of campaign laws. You have said that you think I'll like the answer. So that gives me some insight to where I think you're going with this. If you do run again, is there any, what is one major thing that you would do differently?
So, look, there are many things that I would complete. For instance, the wall was almost completed. Could have been done in 3 to 4 weeks, but they decided not to do it, and they should do it. And, you know, we had the strongest border in history. We have now the weakest border in history. There are many things, many deals I would have done. We were ready to do a great trade deal with Europe because they've been ripping us off almost as badly as China. We had another deal with China coming along that would have been phenomenal that China wasn't happy with. I would have done all of that. The press, I had to devote a lot of time to fake investigations. They were fake. And, you know, it's interesting. The Durham report has started, you know, it's come out. I wish it could have been a little earlier, but it's unbelievably complete. And I would imagine this is just the beginning of the foundations.
But I want to ask you about that specifically.
No, well, I mean, no, but the foundations.
But we know the Steele dossier is debunked. The Washington Post had to retract their stories. Where's the rest of the media?
Yeah. They actually have retracted it, and almost all of them are starting to now retract it, and they don't know how to do it because they're very embarrassed. And frankly, they should give back their Pulitzer Prizes. They won Pulitzer Prizes for their coverage of Russia, but you and Solomon and other people were right. You should get the prizes, okay? You were right. You called
By the
it
way,
early on.
that'll make their heads explode.
That's 'cause you have,
give Hannity the Pulitzer.
Yeah.
But you're right. They didn't earn them. They were wrong. And, you know, we spent 3 years on this program unpeeling every layer of that onion, and we were proven right first in the Horowitz report, now every step of the way.
Right.
It turns out the dirty Clinton bought and paid for dossier was full of lies, and it was used to ruin Carter Page's life and spy on your candidacy, your transition, and your presidency. That happened.
Well, that happened, and a lot of other things happened. But I was thinking, just on the way over for the interview, our country focuses on so many of these fake investigations, and we don't focus on greatness any longer. Everything is an investigation. You look at what's going on now, where they have a unselect committee. It's an unselect, and the way they're treating people, and yet Antifa, who are bad, BLM, you look at all of the horror shows and the death and destruction they cause, and they don't go after them, but they go after people that in many cases, and not in all cases, but in many, many cases are patriots. And you had some bad people. And if you look at what happened at the Capitol, you had some bad people that were not patriots at all. And they came from other places, including Antifa and including others. And they led a lot of people astray. They don't want to cover that. They don't want to cover the election results.
But wait a minute. We had 534 riots in the summer of 2020 that the media and the Democrats described as mostly peaceful. Okay. Dozens of Americans died. We had thousands of cops that were injured, pelted with bricks, rocks, bottles, Molotov cocktails. We had billions of dollars in property damage from between arson and looting that took place. Where is the committee looking into those riots? And where are the prosecutions of the many people we have on videotape committing all of these crimes? It seems to me that the committee has a predetermined conclusion, outcome, and that is to once again try and bludgeon you. If they really cared about peace, and I condemn what happened on the 6th, and you said many of you will peacefully and patriotically march to the Capitol so your voices will be heard. They forget that part. My question is, where's the committee looking into the 535 so-called peaceful riots in the summer that killed dozens of Americans and injured thousands of cops?
Nothing would have happened with Seattle until I was ready to send in the troops in the form of the National Guard. We were going to override the governor. Nothing was going to happen in Minneapolis. We saved Minneapolis. If we didn't send them in, you wouldn't have a Minneapolis, and you wouldn't have so many other places. But you take a look at the crime in these Democrat-run cities, it's incredible.
Up next, I'll ask the former president how Biden's policies are now hurting Americans and how the media mob treated him differently while he was in office. Stay tuned.